So much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Teresa, co-host of the Earrings Off podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, you'll meet Doris Jackson-Shazier. Doris wears many hats. She's a leadership coach, a people management consultant, and an author. With over 2 decades of dedicated experience, she brings a wealth of knowledge to our discussion. But what truly piqued my interest is the story behind her debut book, Raising Justice: Lessons Learned from Motherhood. This book is described as a masterpiece that takes the readers on a transformative journey, fostering deeper connections and spiritual growth within families. In our conversation with Doris, she shares how her experiences as both a mother and a daughter shaped this remarkable narrative. I won't spoil it all for you guys. Get ready for an enlightening exchange. Enjoy. Hello and welcome, Doris, to Earrings Off. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So are we.
Yeah, we're looking forward to this conversation. We're going to just jump right in. Throughout your career, you've held various leadership roles and have extensive experience in coaching and consultancy. How has your professional background influenced your approach to writing about family relationships?
Wow. So I'll start by saying that working in the business world, being in a position to train and lead and encourage adults, you often find that you're really coaching that inner child. You
Didn't
are,
think about that, but you're right.
yeah. So you're dealing with people who, again, who are adults, but some of them have arrested development. They're still very much childlike. I've met so many adults in my career who no one has ever told them, "I'm proud of you." And then I become the first person to tell them that, in their life. Leading adults and teaching and managing and encouraging them directly connects, I think, to the family. And what I notice is what has made me very successful in my career is using the same things that I use at home, those same natural, God given maternal instincts at home, taking those into the workforce proved to be very effective.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it allowed me to manage
That makes a lot of sense
in
to
a
me.
way.
Yeah. So, Doris, mother-daughter relationships are incredibly complex
Yes.
and diverse. So,
Mhm.
what motivated you to focus specifically on this topic in your book?
Yeah. So I think the topic chose me. I don't know if I chose it. My first child is a girl. In the book Raising Justice, I talk about not only raising her, her name is Justice.
Uh,
I talk about the things that I learned about myself and through motherhood. She just happens to be my daughter. I think maybe the book would be the same, whether, it was with one of my sons or not. But it's really about what's special about mother-daughter relationships is the bond and just the connection that we have. What I learned in motherhood and in raising her, I learned more about my mom. I think we understand our parents more when we become one. And
mm,
so motherhood has been this interesting thing. And I guess that's where the mother-daughter relationship importance comes in, is that again, in becoming a mom, you learn your mother. And in having a daughter, you learn more about yourself.
I
Um,
like that.
yeah, she's a reflection of me, and sometimes when I see her behave in ways that I'm like, "Oh my God, that's me." She's literally acting like me. It takes on a different type of meaning. So I think it's something special about that mother-daughter connection because sometimes our daughters has a way of holding a mirror to us. in helping us to look at ourselves differently. And then again, once we're in that predicament as a mom, we then start to understand our parents or our mothers, because now we get to see ourselves. So
Yeah.
it's this real cool experience that I think makes the mother-daughter relationship, critical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think you
Okay.
touched on this a little bit, but can you expound a little bit more about that journey that inspired you to write the book, Raising Justice?
Yeah, so I like to tell people, and it's not as a spoiler alert, but really to give people an in-depth idea of where this story begins. I'm a first generation college student who went to school on a full scholarship, and I was the first person in my family to attend college and really to graduate without having a child as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
For a few generations. And
Mm.
so I have these accolades. I feel like I'm the generational breaker in my family. And then I land into my sophomore year of school and I end up pregnant. And so this story begins with devastation. Like it begins with a struggling perfectionist, a person who things just did not work out or go the way that I intended. And now I'm here and I'm pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And so the journey starts outside of what I thought was an abortion clinic. And it was fate. Someone told me, this mysterious person told me, if you named that baby, you wouldn't be able to do what you're thinking about doing. And the
Mm.
first thing that came to my mind was the word justice.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
I picture at 10 weeks pregnant. And I began this journey of now being responsible for this child and trying to put together whatever the pieces were going to be, because it wasn't the way I had imagined it. I imagined myself finishing school, having this great career, meeting the right person, getting married, and the white picket fence and everything you kind of dream about with the
Mm.
American dream. And so now I'm 19, I'm pregnant. I'm not with the father, and I'm gonna figure out life. And the beautiful thing about this story, and again, no spoiler alert, but you have to really understand it, is it starts there and then it goes up to present day where I see my daughter at 19 years old graduate college. So
Mm.
Justice is now a college graduate. She has her bachelor's in business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to say that I was the 19-year-old pregnant college student that produced the 19-year-old college graduate. And this
Mm.
book really tells you what happened.
Oh, wow.
That's
Mm.
amazing.
Okay. Yeah. So, Doris, communication plays a vital role in any relationship. So,
Definitely.
what advice do you have for mothers and daughters who may struggle to communicate effectively with each other?
Yeah, I think what's most important is that we take the time to listen and suspend judgment. I think sometimes when our children come to us, we automatically go into problem
Mm.
solving mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm guilty of it. I have to literally hold myself back
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
when my daughter's calling me and telling me something, or when my kids are coming to me about an
Yeah.
issue, because we want to fix and solve things for them. And I think sometimes mothers, we don't understand what that does to our children when we even give them the impression that they're not strong enough, smart enough, or equipped enough to handle or create their own solutions. The first thing I would say is listen,
Mm-hmm.
listen, and then suspend judgment. Exercise curiosity, kind of seek to understand what their thought process is, where are they coming from, but really just come from a place of understanding and don't necessarily feel the need to solve or direct everything for them.
Yeah.
And I think with my daughter, it's helped our relationship because we have really good, boundaries. And she's had to set some boundaries with me as a
Mm.
19-year-old
Yeah.
and say, well, mom, this is how I'm choosing to do this. And I'm like, well, I think the best way is to do it this way. And she's like, I understand it, but this is what I feel is best for me. And I have to say,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I'm proud of you for letting me know that you have a very good idea of what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm respect it. And then I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the hardest part,
It is
leaving it
hard.
alone.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
I
hard.
have been in that space. I have.
Haven't
It
we
is the
all? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hardest thing, but you know what? It's the best thing for them for
Yeah.
all of the reasons that you mentioned. And it teaches them to be able to know that when they're not in your presence and they can't get to you, right? That
Yes.
they can solve anything. They can handle anything, right?
And they need
Well,
that encouragement.
and I love what you said about we don't want to interact with them in a way or communicate in a way that makes them believe that we don't think they're capable.
That's
Like you
right.
said, not smart enough, not able enough, not strong enough. And you can unintentionally do that by your response. I had to learn that myself when my son taught me boundaries, Doris. So there you have it.
Mine checked me early. I was like, girl, you barely out the house and you got me together. I'm still paying your rent and how you
Yeah.
gonna get me together?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I have to admit I'm still getting checked every day, even now. So, yeah. But you know, you're a mother and you're always going to be a mother, and once they become mothers and fathers, you know, they realize
Oh yeah.
that role that you
Oh
play.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in that position now. I get a whole lot of grace extended to me now.
Oh,
Now that my son is a parent. Oh,
Yeah.
it's totally different. Now I'm like, oh, I'm glad I made it to this point. Now you understand.
that's how it goes.
Yeah, that is how it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, reflecting on your own journey, what advice would you give to mothers and daughters striving to balance their professional aspirations with their personal relationships in today's fast-paced world?
I have this thing that I call high accountability, high morale. And
Mm-hmm.
really, it's about how you set expectations in a way that allows for just good morale and good relationship building. And I believe this concept works in the business world and at home. I think balance is key, and self awareness is key. So, in any way that you can, again, set expectations the same way you would do it in the workplace, do that at home. What are your goals? What's the role clarity? What's the responsibility of all those people that are around you? My kids, we talk about what their goals are, what we're trying to achieve for the year, the different things. My daughter, this is our mother daughter trip for the year. This is how we're going to spend time with each other. So, just a high level of communication. And again, I think people reserve smart goals or setting certain or creating strategies for work. And no, it works at home also. Do you meet on a regular basis? Do you talk around family dinner? Do I utilize conversation cards at home to get my kids to talk, and they always learn something funny about me and my husband,
Mhm.
in pulling out those cards. But really, if you want to find that balance, it has to be intentional. Setting goals in both your professional life and your personal life, I think, is important. I think the best thing to do for balance, and I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything, is traveling. I,
Mhm.
I believe that traveling opens up the doors to everything. Like, it gets you in new environments, you get to see things differently, you get to meet new people. It I don't know, it's just a reset. At least that's what it
Mhm.
is for me.
Right,
I
right.
always encourage people, if you really want to balance out personal life and home life, keep a vacation on the schedule.
Yeah.
Keep
Mm-hmm.
something that you're looking forward to. So when you work hard, you know you're going to play hard too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
That
I
is. And
I like that. I want to learn more about those conversation cards. Is that something that you developed, or
No.
what it tell us a little bit
But you
more
know what?
about
I am
those.
interested in designing my own set of conversation cards. So it's something that I'm really thinking about. But yeah, you can find them on
oh
Amazon. You
yeah.
can Google
Oh,
them.
okay.
Yeah, the conversation starters.
Mhm.
Literally, I have in my home, they have the family talk ones. We love those. But then they have one for small children. They have one for couples. My husband and I lead a couples ministry with our church. And I
Okay.
always pull out these conversation cards. Yeah, so they have them in different themes. They have ones that are appropriate for workplace. And so I just love to use them because it just gets you to talking, and it gets you to sharing things that you wouldn't normally just come across in a conversation.
Mm-hmm. I
Mm.
like it.
And I like the fact that you said, Doris, that you have to be intentional about this, just like you're intentional in the workplace and you set goals and you develop strategies for what works. You have to do the same thing with your family, not just rely on happenstance that things are going to
Yeah.
just be, flowers and daisies all the time. You have to work at that to make that happen and to be intentional. So thank you for sharing that. But as a diversity council president and advocate for inclusiveness, What steps do you recommend for mothers and daughters to navigate conversations about diversity and inclusion within their own families?
One of the things that I would recommend to mothers and daughters, again, open communication. How do you, as a mother, encourage good self worth and identity? One of the chapters in my book, I actually talk about identity and how I grew up in a neighborhood where, they called me white girl. I spoke proper. I guess I was always on the computer. I was bused to a school outside of the neighborhood. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of got this nickname for white girl. I embraced it. It's so weird now that I think about it. I embraced it because I grew up thinking that white was right.
Mm.
I grew up from a generation that's what they were taught.
Uh-huh.
The whiter you were,
Uh-huh.
or the more you assimilated, that was right. And so with my daughter, she has an incident, and I talk about it in the book, that one of her friends calls her an Oreo.
Mm-hmm.
As a compliment. They said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my God, like you're black, but it's like you're white on the inside. We have so much in common." And my daughter says, "I'm not an Oreo. I'm black on the inside too."
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a proud moment for me because I had raised her to understand that those things about her don't make her white or black. She is who she is. She just happens to like Japanese food and anime and the same things as this white child.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make her any less black.
Right.
And so I think when you think about from a standpoint of inclusiveness and belonging, it starts within. It starts with, how do I see myself? What do I think about myself? Do we inadvertently teach our kids certain things like white is right or
Yeah.
good hair or different
Right.
things like that? My daughter's completely natural. And I'm happy that I didn't impose on her what good hair
Mm-hmm.
should be and
Mm-hmm.
that she feels confident that her hair is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that is some good stuff. Thank you so much for sharing. This has been a great conversation. I can't believe we've reached the end of all the questions. So, if you would though, if you don't mind, leave our audience with some parting words. Be sure to include how they can get in contact with you, how they can get the book,
Yeah.
and any other information you'd like to share.
All right, awesome. So again, my name is Doris Jackson-Shazier. The name of my book, my first published book, is Raising Justice. It could be found on my website right now, dorisjacksonshazier.com. It's right now on pre-sale. However, as of June 27th, which is my 20th year anniversary of being a mom,
Oh,
Justice's
okay.
birthday,
Yeah.
it will be available on Amazon, Apple, Google, and Barnes and Noble. So
Oh, okay.
Oh,
definitely
nice.
check it out. I'm also a leadership
Congratulations.
coach and management consultant. So I service small, medium, large size corporations and I facilitate in areas of unconscious bias and empathetic communication and psychological safety and those different things. So definitely if you're looking for a thought partner or someone to help you to enhance your leadership skills or your family relationships, definitely reach out.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice speaking with you. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate the opportunity, ladies. Thank you.
Take good care.